Is Bitcoin a hedge against the economy? And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm Matt Sheriff, and thanks for watching. And if you've been following any headlines, especially over the recent years, from bloggers to different media outlets, the talk of the next economic crash is always coming around. The indicators are there. There's a lot of different things that are happening in the world that point to the next crash, but nobody knows when it will be. Nobody knows what will trigger it, and nobody really knows how it will happen. And what I mean by this is people talk a lot about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency being a hedge against the economy. And while that is somewhat true, I feel like that's quite a simplistic statement for such a complex topic. And nobody knows how the economic crash will go, and think people have to be very careful what they wish for in terms of an economic collapse, soaring Bitcoin and cryptocurrency into the highest skies. One thing is that people obviously don't know how the crash is going to go. If it is a catastrophic explosion all over the world, then really that's something terrible, as it brings a lot of suffering, a lot of stress, different poverty around the world, and can lead to quite a lot of death. So people do need to be careful what they wish for. And in terms of the economic crash going like that, if it isn't a horrible implosion, then Bitcoin will be a good hedge against the economy. But at the same time, I don't see it going to absolute new heights, because one thing that really changes the price of Bitcoin is money coming into the market. But like we've seen in so many different countries, when banking crisis happens, government crisis happens, and a lot of funds are frozen, then there's not going to be really that much money coming into the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market if there is an implosion, like kind of some analysts are talking about, because like we see in Greece and Cyprus and different countries where assets are frozen because obviously things have tanked, then I don't really see new money coming in to filter the real growth of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in that particular time of crisis. So that's really something to think about and be careful kind of what people say, because I think there's a big picture thinking behind that sort of thing. And on the other side, as we're seeing in different places around the world, little kind of implosions in different countries, different crises happening, um, is something which I feel will facilitate Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, as more and more people get wary of the system and really the fragility of it, because it is very fragile and being propped up by a number of different things, both known and unknown, um, which could break really at any moment, and send the system crashing. Who knows when that'll be? Maybe days, months, years. Nobody really knows. But with these little kind of implosions happening, and obviously money filtering into the system, into the cryptocurrency network, that is, kind of over the process of time, seems to be a much healthier way to grow, um, and not be as stressful and kind of catastrophic for the world. So that's always something interesting to think about in terms of how the crash, or how this kind of breakdown of the system happens, will really dictate the way this kind of goes. And in terms of Bitcoin being a hedge against the market, I mean, it is, because the value. which derives from all cryptocurrencies is that they're decentralized, they're open, they're trusted. You can't manipulate them. Nobody owns them. So it's a safe store of value, and a lot of people are using that asset class, which is Bitcoin, as a safe haven of money to move exchange around without it being tied to the system. And the same thing kind of goes for precious metals, like gold and silver. People hold those as a hedge against the economy as well. Is just a different type of asset class, as obviously it's physical and it's stored somewhere. And one thing, if you are holding silver and gold, to be careful of, if you are holding it into to protect yourself against an economic collapse, then where you're holding it will be crucial, because if it's in an offshore account, a well liquidated company or holding facility, then you probably be okay. But if it's somewhere where the government can get their hands on it, or somebody can confiscate it or something like that, you should be very wary. Obviously the best case scenario is you holding it yourself, but the shipping and all that kind of costs that come into it can be annoying. And that's obviously why Bitcoin and digital assets are so valuable, in the way that they can be stored and can be moved easily. It's always something to think about. Obviously Bitcoin has a cap. There will only be 21 million ever created, so inflation will only ever reach a certain point. And in that case, the hedge against an economy which prints money out of its face, and inflation, is continuing to rise, interest rates are continuing to decrease and are almost at zero. Bitcoin, in the way it's built, is a hedge against the economy because of the values that it brings. So the people, I guess, holding Bitcoin and holding cryptocurrency, if there is a massive implosion and economic crash, will most likely benefit. But in terms of it soaring, to new highs, always good to think about how Bitcoin does increase in value, and if new money can't come into the system, then it will be hard for it to really grow, like some analysts say. And they're just some of my thoughts on the whole topic. But obviously a big part of this is to think ahead of the curve, think ahead of the times, diversify yourself, protect your assets. Some people get into gold, silver, Bitcoin, whatever it is, as a protection mechanism and to diversify their portfolio. Other people get into it to use it as a business, to grow their holdings within it, and hopefully grow their wealth with it. So there's different ways to look at this. But in terms of cryptocurrency, digital assets, and Bitcoin being a hedge against the economy, it can serve a really, really good purpose and help your portfolio and help diversify your risks. But at the same time, thinking about an economic crash and the way that happens will really dictate kind of your thinking on how this will all play out and how it will go. So I hope that video kind of helped explain some things and kind of some bigger picture thinking, which I've been exposed to and have my own thoughts about. If you are interested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, you want to learn more about it, subscribe to my free newsletter below and my cryptocurrency crash course on this YouTube channel. And subscribe to the channel also, because I've got some other good things coming out, which I'm sure you'd be interested in if you're interested in this video and got some value from it. So I'm at Sheriff. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.